Okay, so I suppose if I post this, it means I didn't make too much of a fool of myself. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've probably seen this machine. I bought it back 5 years ago to build my house and this shop. And at the time it had 3,000 hours on it, or I can't remember exactly. Bunch of hours. I believe it was on a masonry crew before I bought it. Did a lot of work to it. I do have a video on servicing the final drives. The final drive drain plug bolt heads had basically just been worn off. They never cleaned out behind the sprocket, and the dirt and mud packed in there and just over time ground down those bolt heads. So I got a video on servicing those. Here recently, the lift cylinders started leaking. I repacked those last week or 2 weeks ago. And as I started working on things, I found more things that needed to be fixed. So pulled those out, fixed those. On this side, the pivot pin, that's where the battery box sits, and that thing was just packed full of mud when I bought it. I don't think that pin ever got greased. I went through that, fixed that, and then the next thing I noticed is this front half of the machine was staying wet. I got to looking, I was missing this bolt out of the auxiliary hydraulic coupler. At some point in time, something really heavy hit right here, spun the whole thing, bent the lines, broke, I don't know if you can see back in there or not, broke a little ear off. It's not leaking there, it's just a little bit of castings broken off. The bolt was sheared off. So I had to pull that apart, bend the lines back where they should be, put the bolt back in, got all that fixed, went and test drove it, and this flat face coupler was leaking pretty badly. So replaced it, got all that buttoned up. Well, in the process, I started noticing how much play that I have here in the Bobtach pins, pivot pins and cylinder pins and bushings. So I wasn't going to do anything with them, but I have some time. It's going to eventually have to get done. I'd rather do it now before it gets into parent metal and I can still just replace bushings. So all right, first thing we got to do is 2 9/16, get this bolt out. We should be able to drive that pin out and see kind of what we're working with here. Yep, wasn't too bad. So yeah, we're in the same boat as that pivot pin. We worn pretty good there. I don't know how well that's picking up, but definitely time to do something with it. So glad we're going this route. There's a couple of seals in here that got to come out. Of course, that one came out on its own, basically. Then we'll look at what we got to do to get that seal out, or that bushing out. Yeah, it's not moving. Okay, worth a shot. Okay. Plan B. Okay, I think I'm gonna get out easier on this one. I got a socket that actually fits in the hole that we're working with here. And let's see if we can't drive this out. There we go. Just like that. Perfect. Get her to focus, maybe. It's pretty worn. There's a groove in there for the grease. It's still kind of in there down here on the bottom side. You can see where there's groove there, no groove there. So we're pretty egg-shaped. We didn't have a whole lot left here, so I'm glad we're doing this. All right, brand new pins and bushings from Bobcat. I did go with Bobcat brand. Paid a little bit more than the Amazon brand, but I know they're gonna be right. I read some reviews, some great, some not so great. This machine's gonna be around for a while, so I wanted to make sure I got the right thing. So that particular joint has this bushing. On each side of the bushing has a seal. So I'm gonna throw these bushings in the freezer, hopefully shrink them down just a touch, give us a little bit better chance at getting them in relatively easily. They do have a hole for grease to pass through. You don't have to get that hole exactly lined up with the grease fitting. There's actually a channel, just like there's a channel on the inside of the bushing. Inside of the parent bushing, there's also a channel. So as long as we're in the vicinity, we'll still be getting grease into this joint. So I'm gonna throw these in the freezer. We'll get to work on some other things while they get cold, and we'll go from there. Okay, so got that set up, got that other pin and bushing out. Next on the list are these tapered pins. So they sit in here just like this. The tapered portion of the pin locks in with friction into the arm. So we've got to remove this bolt. We're going to pull the grease fittings off, and hopefully we're going to use that bolt to get the process started. We're going to leave it threaded in just a touch, drive it home. A bunch of grease is going to spit out, and then we can use a punch or something else to drive the pin out of the arm the rest of the way into the Bobtach, so it'll come right out. And then we'll do the exact opposite to put it back together. So we'll get that bushing out, put the pin in, put it in place, seals, all the things, and then use the bolt to pull the pin back into the arm and lock it in place. So let's get this pulled off and see what we can do about getting that bushing out. Thread that back in just a touch. Safety glasses back on. Shoot grease halfway across the shop. Perfect. So, not too bad there. Not sure. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, easy enough. Go to the other side. Grease fitting off. And learn from our mistakes and throw a rag over that so we don't send grease to the ceiling again. I think we caught it, most of it maybe. Not really. It literally shot through the rag. Well, y'all are gonna like this. I got a little cleaning to do. That's unfortunate. Holy cow. Always something, isn't it? Anyhow. All right, onward. This is the rest of the layout. So I do have new bolts. Bobcat recommends you replace the bolts. These will stretch. So we are doing that. I think we're free. Look there. All right. So you should have a little cup washer and then seal inside of that. Let's get this pin pulled out. Maybe. Still don't have it. There it is. All right. All right, so we got this cleaned up. This bushing actually doesn't look that bad, even though I know it probably is. I haven't really got into it much. You can see where it's actually walked out a little bit. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be flush right there, and you can see a little gap back there. Doesn't really help me much. I don't have a puller or anything of that nature, but what I do have is a little plasma torch, and I am going to do my best to wash that thing out of there without getting into the main bushing. That plasma torch shouldn't make it too hot. Not that that really matters. And then what I'll do is I'll probably stick some rags back in there, or I don't know. I'll put something in there. But regardless, I'm gonna have to flush all that in there and make sure anything that I sling back in the back of there with the plasma torch comes out, so it doesn't just absolutely obliterate the new bushing. So let me get that set up and we'll get going. All right, progress. There it is. Okay, so I did get into a little bit. Oh gosh, where's it at? I'm gonna turn that torch down just a touch. It got a little aggressive on me. You know, that grease caught on fire. Well, focus. Maybe. So you can see right in there. A little bit, but it's not gonna hurt that bushing any. No worse for the wear. I'll try to do a little better job on the other side. There you go, now you can see it. So, we'll get all that slag out of there, get her cleaned up, and we'll go do the other side. All right, I'll do a little bit better job with that one. Still got into it just a touch there, but like I said, that's really not gonna make any difference, I don't think. You know, it is what it is, but we'll get these cleaned out. Hopefully our bushings will be nice and cold by then. We can drive those in and start putting this thing back together. We'll finish cleaning it up and start putting it back together. So y'all stick with me. All right, got everything cleaned up. We got all the metal out, nice and clean. Y'all saw that. We'll grab the bushing out of the freezer and see if we can't get it in there. Too bad. Not too bad. Got her in there, and see how this is flush. Like I said earlier, it wasn't. We'll go get the other one. Get the other side put together. Okay, same thing, just the other side here. We'll go ahead and pop these grease fittings back in, and we can set the pins inside of the bushing and send them home. Remember, we had to drive them all the way in to get it out, so we've got to put them all the way in again to put it back together. Kind of backwards nomenclature there. New pins here. Slide right in. Factory Loctite, so don't have to do anything with that extra. It's already on there. Okay, now seals. So this seal going here, theoretically, keep the dust and the grime out and let the old grease push out. And then it has this guy that it rides on. Keeps it sealed. So we'll put that on both sides. Get her slid into place here. So I kind of want to point out that when I took this thing apart, these seals were non-existent. So my thought is that they just disintegrated over time with use, I'm hoping, and that they didn't get replaced at some point without the actual seal. So surely that's not the case. I don't think these pins and bushings have ever been serviced, honestly. So we'll send this guy fishing. See if we can't find our pin. Where we're at here. A little bit deep. Quite reach it. See if I can get it to pull out just a little bit with a magnet. There we go. Oh, good gracious. All right. Washer back on. These are supposed to be press fittings. Obviously, one, I don't have a press, and two, I don't want to take the cylinders all the way off, so. It is tapered on one end to help you get it started. And I am going to put the hole, try to line it up relatively with more. Check the other side. Back just a touch. Touch more. Okay. Easy enough. I can decide where I want it. That's pretty good there. So like I said, these seals, I'll focus on this. They're kind of like a dust seal or dust wiper on a cylinder, metal on the backside, and then kind of got a little cup on that side. So I assume that they would be facing out on this side and out on that side to keep the dust out and allow the grease to flow through it. That's the way I'm going to install them. It may be backwards. Couldn't find any literature on it, so we're going with it. My thought is if you put them inward, like we're going to keep the grease in, it's just going to push the seal out, and nobody's going to have a good day. Just like that. You can see this thing's got a little extra wear on it where it was moving around. It's wearing there. Same on the other side. I may actually, let's see what this looks like. A little rubber mallet. Tap it in. Man, I like that one a lot. Let me tell you what, I'm gonna go just a little bit deeper, see if I can get this guy out. Where did, give it a little tap here. All right. Seal's still in. Put this guy in. We'll do the other side and bring you guys back in. So let's take a look. shape. Not bad at all. All right, I've got seals and bushings in the tilt cylinders. Let me get this thing up in the air just a touch and extend those cylinders, and we'll start putting the pins back in, see if we can't get this thing back together. Grease in there. Let's see what we can do here. Well, it helped if I wanted to put that on backwards. Let's fix that real quick. Holder there, I put it on backwards. Spin this nut around. Here we go. Okay, put some grease to it, and that's done. We're good to go. So, again, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a mechanic, don't pretend to be. However, this is what I had available to me as far as resources. I don't have a press, things of that nature. I've got an old shop freezer and a mallet with a brass head. So I didn't damage any bushings putting them in. Everything is in a lot better shape. You can see now it's a lot tighter than the beginning of the video. But we'll continue to plug away and fix things as they need fixing. Clean up my mess, put the bucket back on, and we'll be back in business. Appreciate y'all watching. clean grease off my ceiling. Not me. This is a first. This is a first. And I'm not paid by Pig Wipe. I'm not paid by anybody. But I'll be darned if this isn't a unique advertising opportunity. Pig wipers and brake clean. There we go. I think that's got it. Nope. I'm gonna find grease up here for a long time. I'll bet you.